Do you know where the house is?
This is an exciting end to the project for all our team out there. We've got a team of expats and a much bigger team of Indonesian workers who've been, building houses, looking after people, trying to help people rebuild their lives after the tsunami for 3 years now.
This is a place that I don't feel.
Now, it is almost 3 years after the tsunami struck Southeast Asia, and the process of reconstruction continues. More than 220,000 people were killed. One of the worst affected areas was the Indonesian province of Aceh. Here's Rags Martel.
Aceh, 5 days after the tsunami. 3 years on, Aceh is making progress. This is the village of Panton. It was virtually washed away by the tsunami. Now new homes have replaced the ones that were destroyed, but the villagers are still overwhelmed by the memory of that fateful day.
I saw all the buildings being destroyed, but I still don't understand what happened on that day. I lost my mind.
I'm in the garden where we planted.
Alhamdulillah telah membantu oleh Red Cross itu semuanya.
Thanks for God, because when the British Red Cross coming and give us the grant and we can start to do our business, I also find house. Yeah.
None of us will ever forget what happened when the tsunami hit South Asia on Boxing Day 3 years ago. Never before have we been so generous in our response. This is how it looked back then, and this is what your money has helped to achieve.
The public response was really incredible. People gave money in a way that I've never seen before in 20 years in the voluntary sector. So a big thank you to the British public.
Tell me about the kinds of people you've met and how they're coping.
There was one family who just didn't want to go back to their former occupation, so we've helped them establish a wedding gown business. Fantastic to see them in their new shop.
What was their particular story?
Well, they lost children, they lost their livelihood. I think he was a fisherman, and they had nothing really to turn to.
It's all yours. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Nama saya Idris.
My name is Idris.
Ya. Waktu kejadian tsunami, saya tidak di rumah.
When tsunami, he was not home.
Yang ada di rumah keluarga saya.
In his home, just his family.
Setelah air surut, saya kembali ke rumah.
After water down, when he came back to his home,
kebetulan hilang total keluarga dan harta benda.
All of his family and his treasure disappear. Not found until now.
Let's now return to the news of the tsunami. With me is Sir Nicholas Young, Chief Executive of the British Red Cross. A very good morning to you. Thanks for coming in. I know you've just returned back, haven't you, from Indonesia. Just give us your report, your personal feelings of how life is there for people now.
Well, it was a very moving visit 3 years on. When I was first in Aceh, about 2 or 3 months after the tsunami, it was just a devastating sight. I mean, the whole town and so many towns and villages all around the province had literally been wiped out. It was a sea of mud and broken buildings and fallen trees.
How are you finding people that you meet? Are they still bruised by it? Are they stoical? Are they just really wanting to get on with their lives?
Well, I think most people were wanting to get on with their lives. I mean, I remember I met a man called Idris, and he was in his mid-50s. He'd been a fisherman. He'd lost his wife and 2 sons. He now lives alone with his remaining son. And I said to Idris, are you still fishing? No, he said, no, I'm working on the land now. I don't want to go back to the sea. And many people have got that feeling. They just don't want to go back to what they did before, particularly if it had, some relevance and significance connection with the tsunami.
So Nick Young is the Chief Executive of the British Red Cross, and he joins me now. So what have you done with the money then?
Oh, we've built houses. I mean, that's the main thing that we've done in Indonesia. We've just handed over 2,000 houses to the beneficiaries who we've been working with, and we've done a lot of work on helping people to rebuild their lives and their livelihoods as well.
Surely there must still be quite a lot of work to do, though.
Well, there is work to do. I mean, you know, just building somebody a house doesn't restore their loved ones, obviously. People are still rebuilding their lives. They still talk to you about the tsunami and the impact that it had. We're doing a lot of work, as I say, rebuilding people's businesses.
Just looking at some of the houses and stuff that have been built there recently, these some of the new houses, as yet?
They really are lovely. I mean, we have built back better in Aceh.
3 years after the devastating Boxing Day tsunami, thousands of survivors are finally living in new, rebuilt houses.
More than 220,000 people were killed when the massive tidal waves struck Southeast Asia in 2004.
Joining us now is the Chief Executive of the British Red Cross, Sir Nicholas Young. You handed over some of the final keys to some of the final survivors. It must be an incredible feeling after 3 years of hard work that people are in proper houses now.
It was fantastic to see the smiles on the faces of the people of Aceh. I saw Aceh 2 or 3 months after the tsunami. It was absolutely devastated. And now life is returning thanks to the Red Cross and other agencies who have done, I think, a pretty fantastic job in very difficult circumstances.
Those houses that we're looking at the moment, Nick, are fantastic, and it is a brilliant job. But how many people are still in temporary accommodation?
Well, the government of Indonesia has been assessing that. It says that altogether about 100,000 new houses have been built. And certainly I didn't see anyone still living in temporary accommodation. Most people, everybody that I saw, is now living in permanent housing. Very much better than they had before. It really is incredible how positive and cheerful these people are. I mean, wherever you go, if you're wearing a Red Cross T-shirt or a Red Cross hat, you get a friendly wave, people smile, people pat you on the back, people say thank you. I mean, these people are incredibly grateful for these houses and for the livelihood grants and the other help. We've done a great thing with and for these people out here, and I feel incredibly proud of that.
This is a place